can't go anywhere. Not because that car is parked in front of me, but because I still haven't received my powder coated wheels. Apparently we didn't know this when I ordered the powder, but some of the raw materials to make that powder were in back order. It's gonna be a special bronze. It's not just a regular bronze, but so yeah. But today we're gonna install something a little bit different. Remember, the camber was off. I decided to order a bunch of these parts, so we're gonna change that out. And I contacted the good folks at Bwoody, and they hooked me up with this kit. I got the rear differential brace right here, front differential brace right there, front and rear sway bar links. Look how beefy these things are. These things are awesome. And then the rear sway bar, or the swing arm kit, camber kit, and we're gonna be installing that. I'm gonna be walking you guys through the step of how we do this. It's not that complicated because I already had removed a lot of these parts when installing the Mopar lowering springs, so it's pretty straightforward. These things do have the lubrication, so you have to lubricate these, the grease fittings, to lubricate them. So we just have to position those correctly, because you are gonna have to be lubricating these if you get the hybrid kit, or the hybrid bushings, I'm sorry, or the polyurethane bushings. The difference on that is that polyurethane is a lot stiffer than regular bushings, and the Delrin bushings are pretty much just really tough plastic. It's like almost like, it's very hard, so you need lubrication for that. That's why you have the grease fittings. So I'm gonna walk you guys through the steps. Not very complicated, but I'm gonna show you guys torque specs and all that on this. When I originally had installed this, I told you guys I was just going with German torque specs, good and tight. So I was just tightening it as much as I could, but this time we're gonna tighten it to the torque specs. So stay tuned, we'll walk through the steps. I don't know which one's gonna be easier to install. I don't know if I should start with the differential, but all right. So right now at this stage, I'm just preparing everything that I'm gonna be installing. Right now on this one, I gotta install these grease fittings in here, but I am gonna be putting a bit of orange Loctite. So orange thread locker is in between, I guess you could say it's in between the blue one and the red one, where it's stronger than blue. It's kind of like red, but it does need it's just a little bit stronger than the blue. So they say it's like the red, but you can take it off with regular hand tools. It's an 8mm. This one worries me a little bit. The angle of where it's at, I don't really like it. If you could kind of see there, I don't really like the angle at where it sits, but I guess that's the way it is, because on this side you could kind of see where it's not sitting right, but I guess that's the way it is. Okay, so I got the left side of the vehicle, but in my kit I ordered the hybrid mix. So they had two options. They had the polyurethane, which polyurethane is a lot stronger than regular bushings. It's a lot stiffer. They last you a lot longer. They're used more for like performance. But now for racing, they use Delrin bushings, which Delrin, it's a lot harder. It's basically like tough plastic. Let's see if I have a piece of Delrin right here. No, I don't have one, but yeah, so Delrin is just a it's a really hard plastic. You can basically hit it against metal and it won't even mess up. So I got this one ready, gotta get the other sides ready. I also gotta put the grease fittings on everything else, but we're moving along nicely. All right, so right now I am installing the grease fittings on one of the rear A-arm replacement. And one thing I noticed, every time you guys order anything that's fabricated or you know, made to order, always double check it. I had to file this because it had some sharp edges, and there was also something inside of this. So I didn't install the grease fitting. What I decided to do is get a little hook, and I hooked out the piece because it's a metal and it was on the polyurethane side. So just think about this, it's gonna be moving a lot of the times, right? The suspension, especially with just the engine revving, the whole car is moving, everything is moving, suspension is moving, everything. So think about that metal piece that was in there. It's gonna be rubbing and cutting into the polyurethane bushing and possibly preventing you know, wear that was pre-wear or whatever you want to call it. So just always double check your parts, make sure, again, these things are not perfect. Why? Because they're custom parts. So anything that's custom, always double check it. Okay guys, this is what I'm referring to. Can you guys see the little piece that's in there? So those are shards. They're just shavings from when they did the thread. This one has it too. I accidentally nicked it. Yeah, but it's all right. So look at this one, has a lot more. So you want to always double check, make sure you remove all those things. We're gonna begin by, basically what I did first is I'm gonna remove this piece right here, which is the top of the A-arms. I disconnected the ABS sensor with this tool to basically just remove those grips that it has. I loosened up the sway bar links, but it already stopped. So what I'm gonna use is I'm gonna use a little pry bar to kind of give me a better grip, and I'll loosen these up. This one ends up using the factory, goes like this. It ends up using factory bolts. As you can see, I already have the grease fittings on, so it uses the factory bolts, and these are gonna go torqued to 80 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm gonna loosen everything up. I'm not sure if I should. I'll probably loosen this one up, and then I'll probably loosen the rear one up, and then we'll go from there to kind of install everything at the same time and not kind of tighten or install one part first and then it doesn't fit the rest of the things. The last thing I will install is the new sway bar end links. That's the last thing I'm gonna install here, and that should be it for this side. I'm only gonna show you guys one side because everything else is repetitive on the other side. You do have to get this aligned as soon as it's done, so that's one thing. So I'm gonna break up this video into I guess the suspension parts is gonna be 3 videos. It's gonna be the rear A-arm or the rear setup, and then I'm gonna do the differential braces, the front and the rear, and then the front camber part. It's not that hard, but I'll make a video on that because it's not really specify where exactly it goes, but I'm gonna try to get it as because the little washer moves for the camber, so I'm gonna try to get it dialed in as original as it was, so I could drive it to the alignment shop and they could get it aligned for me. We have removed the first top A-arm. This one right here came off. Out with the old, in with the new. However, on this one we have to install or put a little bit of anti-seize lubricant. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add this on here on this side, not this side yet. Or actually on this side I don't really need it. Just on this side. I'll add it on both, either way. This is the bolt that it has, and you can see this is a camber bolt. I kind of remember what position it was, so we could kind of be a little bit as much as stock as we can, or the suspension as stock as it was. But I'm gonna install this one first, this side first, and then we'll proceed to, I'm not gonna bolt it yet, and then I'm gonna proceed to remove this one. All right, so everything's already buttoned up. As you can see, everything looks super clean. I like the black and yellow color, but there's a lot of options you can pick on this kit, but I chose to keep it simple. Yellow with the caliper. All the grease fittings, I still have to grease that up, and just that's the last thing that I'm missing. On the kit it says to grease it up with something heavy duty, kind of like marine grease, but I'm gonna go ahead and use this one, the extra heavy duty grease from Lucas. This is just in case I forget to maintain it. This can kind of help me out a little bit more. It's for higher temperatures. I was looking at this in the mobile one. This has a higher melting point than the mobile one. I think the mobile one was like 312 degrees. This one's like 500. At least that's what it states, but we'll see. So I just gotta grease it up, and that's it. I'm done. On the other side, I put the ABS sensor back where it goes. This is like the emergency brake. All that's good to go. So that's it, guys. Pretty simple install. Just don't feel overwhelmed. Take it step by step. First I put everything out, I put on the grease fittings, then I went piece by piece, and then finally I buttoned it all up right here. So if you guys like this, you already know, comment, like, share, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you guys. Peace. I'm out.